You're listening to the Casual Swinger Podcast. As your hosts, we need to warn you that the material you're about to hear may be sexual or explicit in nature. This podcast is intended for an adult audience. Now, we don't expect you to act like adults. What's the fun in that?
We're a married couple living in Florida with over 13 years of experience in the lifestyle, and we take almost nothing seriously. Casual Swinger is a variety show, meaning we'll cover everything from music to events, travel, and even the occasional hilarious screw-up. Our show is about entertainment. We're not licensed professionals.
At anything.
And our stories, commentary, and guidance should not be confused with the opinions of a licensed professional.
Now that you know, let's take those pants off and get comfy.
Favorite special guest in the entire universe sitting with us right here in Toronto.
This girl
enough.
surprised us.
This bitch.
I can't believe it.
First of all, what in the hell possessed you to travel across this pond and come hang out with us at the X Club?
Just me.
I wanted to see you guys, and I was like, wouldn't it be crazy if flights weren't crazy expensive and I could like go to Toronto just for the weekend? And I looked them up and I was like, oh, that's a pretty goddamn cheap flight. Wouldn't that be cool if I surprised them?
Cool is not the word for it. You scared the shit out of us. I turned around and I was like, wow, that woman looks a lot like Cate. She's hugging my wife. What the fuck? That's Cate. Like, I could not believe that it was you.
You were thinking that she picked up in the wild again, foreshadowing.
Oh, yeah. Right? I'm like, man, she's a bisexual whore. No. It was the craziest thing ever. So obviously we have Cate. We're not in a studio. Remember, we made a promise to you guys. We would record wherever the hell we happen to be. We are sitting in a hotel room in Mississauga. I think I pronounced it correctly.
Is that how you say it?
Well, I always get it wrong, but yeah, I think it's Mississauga. I'm going to go with it. That's what we're going to call it for the purpose of this episode.
Delicious.
But we're here in Toronto. It's just outside of Toronto. We're here for the X Club tonight. We're DJing and hosting. It is their pasties and booty shorts.
So
pasties and booty shorts, part of the Red, White, and Maple Leafs weekend. So we're up here promoting Casual Swinger Week with our friends at the X Club. What everybody at the X Club is going to find out tonight is the X Club is now officially part of Casual Swinger Week 2026.
Super excited to have those guys.
Yeah, they're amazing. The Canadians are the nicest people in the world. I finally met my first asshole Canadian the other day. I didn't think they had them. I thought they shipped them all out. Like, they just like.
Well, where did you meet them?
That's their number one export.
Did you meet them in America? Because
no,
that's what they did ship.
No, actually, she was on field.
Oh yeah, she was a jerk.
And she was really rude. Like, she's really abrupt, and she pinged us actually, and then it's like, okay, that's a ping is a showing of extreme interest. So okay, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Trying to be nice because it's a single girl. We're up here hosting for X Club. We don't live here, and but if you came out, we'd love to introduce you to the gang and show you some hospitality. And she immediately goes to, I've been going to the X Club for 20 years. I know more people there than you do. You don't need to introduce me to anybody. I said, well, I was talking about the casuals because we've got like 40 of those here. So sorry, didn't mean to offend you. Poor communication, I apologize. And then she immediately goes into, well, what do you want from me?
It was a very awkward exchange. Like, I don't know. It's like,
you messaged us.
Yeah.
Like, it's like someone calling you. Who is this? Well, fuck you. You called me. Who is this?
What's your name?
Ezekiel.
Fuck you, Ezekiel.
What's your name?
I'm a little delirious between last night's party and I'm still in awe that Cate's here.
Oh, and the 30 orgasms you had last night didn't.
Wow, you really want to call me on my shit today, don't you?
Dude, you were calling me on mine.
Yeah.
I'm being all supportive and being a good person. You're like, shut up, stop talking.
We weren't recording though, so it doesn't count.
Oh, okay. I get it now.
I feel like you're Shenanalulu, which I've just decided is a cross between shenanigans and delusional. Delulu, Shenanalulu. Yeah.
You have this propensity to make up words.
Yeah. Hey, most of it's the Australian language. It's not made up words. Those are real.
Well, one of you penal colony residents made it up.
True. I don't think we're far from making up language, but that's just my opinion.
You guys might actually have your own language soon, where you can just like communicate with wild hand gestures and grunts.
I did learn to say twat waffle in sign language yesterday, and I'm still determined that this is going to come in super handy, pun intended.
Wow. So you're actually going to insult people with wild hand gestures like I just said.
Yeah.
Okay. Look at that. Foreshadowing, folks. Your friend Mickey is a soothsayer. You don't know what that is, do you?
First of all,
Hey, I love you.
yeah.
Anyway, what are we going to talk about today? Because we literally just went round and round and round.
Yeah.
And
Hotwife, the Hotwife home run. You guys did an last episode, and it was about striking out. Bit of foreshadowing here, but there's now been some Hotwife action in the wild. So we're calling this one the Hotwife home run.
There we
When
go.
casual beats curated is what I've dubbed it randomly on this early morning, which is not that early.
It's early for us.
hungover Shenanalulu.
I'm excited just to kind of talk about this because you had such a goddamn good time, but we had such a rough time previous to that. And I think some of it, comes, some of our challenges, and the last episode where we talked about striking out, we work a lot of events. And our favorite events in the whole world are Cate's Libertine events. If you don't know about them, go to libertineevents.com. Check them out. The girl's fucking amazing. She's really good at what she does. And we love supporting her and working with her. But when we work, we have a no booty on duty rule.
Yeah, it's
Just like when we're at Hito, just like we're everywhere else. If we're hosting or DJing or doing anything else, we're there to serve you, not service you.
So last episode, though, you spoke about striking out. So I guess to the audience, if they haven't listened to that, I think it would be a good time to go and do that. Because I think
back
that's a
up.
direct reflection of like what we're going to talk about today. So I've got some things I want to ask the both of you and
Let's do
share
it.
some.
We're being interviewed on Casual
You
Swinger
are. So I guess before we start, just to put some context in for the audience, Mallory, you went down to Mexico and you had this experience in the wild. I'm sure we'll kind of talk a little bit about it as we're going through the episode. But for me, when you come back and you talk about finding people in the wild, like this is the whole concept is that's not what we do in the Hotwife lifestyle. That's not how we approach it. We have these like vetting processes and this, and you spoke about that in the striking out episode. So my question to you both is, what have we learned from striking out in quotes the right way by the guidebook versus scoring big the wrong way, which is like don't pick up vanilla people in a vanilla setting? Like what is going on in the irony between curating something versus going casual?
It's probably worth noting, at least, that you went to Mexico. No, but hang on. You went to Mexico. We didn't say this. You went to Mexico and you got laid.
I was going to say that as she was addressing me.
Okay. I didn't know if the listeners were picking up on that. That's all.
It's okay. Is it my turn now? Just making sure. Yeah. So backstory. So I had a long girls weekend, went to Cancun, spent 4 days there, had a fucking blast. And I redeemed myself. I was able to find a partner to play with, like in the wild, not lifestyle, nothing to do with E&M, just a normie. Like, I don't know.
Vanilla, spontaneous encounter.
Spontaneous event. So something I learned is we do have a lot of structure in, like you said, how we curate potential play partners in this space. And it's kind of, if I had to take a step back, I think some of the methodology is a little clinical, and I had a lot of fun doing this in the wild. And we've talked about it for years. Like we talked about catch and release once upon a time, like go showing up to a bar, sitting there, and kind of seeing what happens. In this space, I had a couple days to actually get to know somebody, so it was a nice balance of like not dating, but not like the apps and like structure and vetting and all of this stuff. But I had an established comfort level, and it was just fun. So I think maybe as we go through this in the future, maybe finding a middle ground or considering some of this like out in the wild as well as part of the Hotwife recipe.
I mean, are our rules holding us back? Is that like, is that something to me like they are?
Really, yeah, rules. Do we really have rules though?
Then we have a guidebook. We have this structure. That's what I'm saying. We have this concept of how we do these.
Right, like step 1, dating app. Step 2, conversation. Step 3,
Well, actually, kind of even the dating app stuff. I mean, I'm assuming in your dynamic, from what I know about you, but also how Daryl and I approach the Hotwife lifestyle, Mickey, you would be the first port of call for the vetting.
Almost always.
Right, and so it's even with the app side, it's like there's an additional step, which is, the husband, right, is that person. So I guess, again, taking kind of going around in circles, if you're taking a step back, you had this experience in the wild. How many times in your life do you think you've actually picked up somebody even the whole life, your whole
My
life,
entire life?
Your entire life? When have you picked up people in the wild and like taken them back and had a good time?
So I'm getting to the point where I can't remember every engagement I've had with someone, but it's definitely less than a handful of times. Definitely 100%. Because it just wasn't really my thing to like pick up somebody else. Very, very rare for me.
What about you, Mickey? Have you had a lot of
But
like these spontaneous in the wild encounters in your lifetime?
Not in the last 18 years. Uh, but when I was in college, I had a few one night stands, but I would say that in every one of those cases, I was always the aggressor. It was very rare for a woman to come up and say, "Hey, I'm feeling your vibe. I'd like to talk to you." I mean, if they did, that made it a lot easier, obviously. But it was almost always the case if they were married.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I didn't care that they were married because I was in college, and that wasn't my problem. And of course, all the complications that we try to avoid today certainly came out of it. But I think, in your case, that's actually one of the things that is a barrier for us, is that we're often, because of our ethics, looking for signs that that person is married, and it's a great reason not to do it.
That is a good reason. I'm almost conditioned to look for the red flags because
Correct.
it's so top of mind.
Yeah, so we talked about that a lot in the last episode, that the red flags, we would find a red flag out, off at their head, off at their head, off at their head. And this time, you just didn't look. You just put that down. You're like, it's not like, you just didn't ask.
So,
That helped.
Well, I think everything, how it was implied in the context, because, I mean, it was a bachelor party.
Sure.
So there's like 20 guys. They're fucking adorable, sweet. And for people, I was really impressed for like being out in the wild and vanilla. They treated us with a lot of respect. And, bachelor parties don't always have a great reputation for being, yeah. So, but in the context of the situation, there was no identifying markers that I could tell that there was somebody at home.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no wedding ring, none of that. And I think it worked out for you, but you
well,
definitely also didn't dig in too deep.
I didn't, because I didn't know it was going to be an opportunity until it was. And that spontaneity is like, I didn't have time to question that, and I didn't want to.
Well, so this is what I'm going to,
Yeah.
I'll pose this to you first, Mickey, but do you think that we have overcomplicated hotwifing with structure, apps, endless vetting? Has the current hotwife pipeline, and has it blocked potential chemistry? Do you?
So the answer is yes, if I had to just put a word on it and walk away. But I think...
Yes, and?
Yeah, yes, and yes, but... So as her person, as her husband, as her protector, as the person that looks out for her, those things are there for a reason. Those gates are there as protection mechanisms. Now, they may be protection mechanisms for her physical safety, her emotional safety, and also what she thinks of herself moving forward. Because if she did find out that she had been engaged with and playing with somebody on an ongoing basis that had been lying to her and did have a family or something like that, that would be emotionally devastating for her to think that she caused somebody that kind of pain.
Yeah.
So some of those things that we do are meant to prevent potential pain.
Yeah.
Now, is that potential pain or the chance of it worth not having the interaction at all? That's what usually ends up happening. We usually end up letting the fear of these things or potential red flags drive us away from people. That does overcomplicate it. Do I think the apps and the gates and all those things that we do? I think apps these days are the only way to meet people, unless you go to a bar in the wild.
Well, and as we're learning social media, like so many people
Oh my God, everybody's using
hook up
Facebook
on
now.
social media.
Yeah.
That's an interesting culture, and I haven't subscribed to it or understand it. But yeah, so apps, websites, it's very digital.
Yeah, it's funny for us, for our part. Instagram has replaced Facebook and TikTok have replaced the social aspects of it on Facebook, and Facebook is effectively now a dating site.
Yeah. And I get asked a lot, like when I first start talking to a guy, say you vetted him and kicked him over into like our chat, and I get access to him. One of the first things they ask me, especially in a specific age range, is for my Instagram.
Yeah.
And
That's where they want to move the
yeah,
conversation to is
yeah.
Insta
Yeah.
or Snap or Telegram.
Yeah, and for me, I'm like, is that a red flag? Are they trying to move me over because they don't want anyone seeing their text messages? Or
Yeah, that's one of our things. We
Or
demand text messages.
is it a relational like thing? Because like they'll see my social media on a daily basis and it gives them another connecting point. So I'm really not sure what that behavior is.
Yeah. Well, and I would say, I mean, for at least from my part, of course, I'm not a girl, but I'd say, here's my Instagram, but we're not going to chat there. We're going to chat here.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, did you actually get his details? Do you have them?
Too.
You have them at this point.
I do.
Okay.
And wait till I tell you why.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a pretty hot story. I've heard a lot of I've heard my wife tell a lot of hot stories. And if you want to hear her hot story live and in person, you can check it out on the Hotwife Diaries and the Hotwife Next Door.
Well, okay, so back to you then, Mallory. Similar question, but do you think, you had the spontaneous encounter, and from all reports, it sounds like
12 out of 10.
Okay, great. 12 out
Just
of
not
10.
even gonna fuck around there.
Apparently, my wife got some really good wienering, guys.
Hey, that's my line.
So tell me from your perspective. So Mickey is doing the initial vetting. Let's say he sees 100 profiles. He kicks over maybe 5 to 10 make it through the goalpost to your peripheral.
That is an aggressively high number.
Okay.
It is. It's a bit generous, but for the sake of numbers,
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
for the sake
do-
of numbers. And then you see that, let's say it's 10. So we'll say 100 down to 10%, 10 come over to you. You, I assume then, would pick 1 out of the 10, possibly. So
Maybe.
again,
On a good
right?
month.
Yeah,
Maybe.
exactly right.
Mhm.
So if you'd have seen this person on paper, do you think that you would have picked this person out, or would you have carried forward? Because I'm curious about the difference in your decision making here between spontaneity and judging that
So-
based or profile,
So he does check some of the boxes: age range, general aesthetics, handsome, good-looking guy, athletic, very well spoken. So he kind of would have checked some of the boxes. And I'm gonna call myself out. I accidentally followed him on Instagram. Because,
No.
what do girls do? You freaking social media stalk. Because I was giving the girls the download, and we were all like,
Who
You
is
know,
this person? Yeah.
yeah, blah, blah, blah. So, and I didn't realize that we had followed him from my Instagram, and I got a message back. So I've been able to kind of see a little bit of what he might look like, or how he looks online. And I think, yes, I think he would be one I would at least consider. But I don't know that I would have picked him up in a lineup either, because he's very short format.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
He's not short. He's like 6'4".
Short format, and the way how he speaks and interacts and
Oh, yeah.
engages online.
Yeah.
So I would assume he'd have a very succinct profile. So that could be a
That
pass
could've-
or fail moment too, because
Yeah.
he might not have enough information on there. I think that would be the one thing that might have got him not through the gate.
And does he have any E&M experience at all?
None that
Okay.
I know of.
So-
and we didn't really keep in mind, we
Yeah.
didn't get a ton of time to talk.
There wasn't a lot of talking going on in that
I
room.
mean, it was just social engagement,
Yeah.
levity and just general chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that something you look for when you're looking at the apps? Do you want somebody to know what a hotwife is, what the place of your primary partner is? Is that part of your
100%.
vetting process?
I think or at least as her initial vetting process, I'll answer from that perspective.
Yeah.
I think it's certainly helpful, but prolific. For example, guys that call themselves bulls are pretty much immediately a turnoff for me. I understand that's a dynamic, and I understand that there's things to that, but it's become kind of like when people call themselves alpha or power couples.
Yeah.
It's just kind of droll. It's so in this case, I think that you didn't know much about him, and that was actually a good thing. And so if I'm looking,
I'm not gonna lie, that was a very good thing.
yeah, if I'm looking
Yes.
at it, for example, I know how much she values intellect. So if I look at their profile, and their profile has 5 words on it,
Yeah.
or somebody says something along the lines of, "We know why we're all here. Let's just get to it."
But if you'd
Bye.
have seen him and he said maybe on his profile or through that
Yeah,
first
you've
reach
seen
out,
this. I've shown you his picture. Would you have picked him up physically for me?
Yeah, he would fit your wheelhouse.
Okay.
Yeah, he would fit
and
your
what
wheelhouse.
if he'd have said, I've got absolutely zero experience with E&M, would you have passed him forward to Mallory? Or would
As
you have
long
at
as-
that point gone, you're not going to know the etiquette, you don't know my place, you don't really understand our dynamic, what would you have done at that point?
So I probably would have let him through, but depending on why, because keep in mind, sometimes when I'm looking for individuals for her to engage with, at least up until recently, part of it was content. So their willingness
Yeah,
to film
that's-
video was
that's a
part of
big one
it. There
too.
was a lot of other things.
Yeah.
And these days,
Which makes a very small pool smaller.
Right.
yeah, well, it actually got more challenging because on some levels she's looking for for lack of a better term, a boyfriend light, somebody that can be a regular for
Okay.
her as part and go out for beers and hang out and stuff like that. So when she wants that sort of thing, it's a different tier of human being
Yeah.
in terms of conversational ability, intellect, ability to form a sentence, grammar, language
Well,
barriers.
then we talked about IQ, intellect is a thing, and you don't have to get a Mensa letter, but you have to have some constitution and substance.
Care about
there.
something.
And then the other side is the EQ too. Like once you get to that point, like we're just leveling up the
Well,
parameters
as you
there.
level up the parameters,
Yeah.
you actually cut people out. So
Yeah.
that's what every time the level goes up, the pool goes down.
So my next question was going to be, are we subconsciously training ourselves not to connect by prejudging profiles and over-vetting? What would you
100%.
say to that?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. We've seen it.
Especially after this experience. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
It's almost like, the plausible deniability that comes with not knowing things.
Yeah.
Makes it easier to open yourself to some experiences because, for example, this guy could have been the God's gift to dick, right? He could have just given her some amazing orgasms
Making
and had a
faces
great
like
time
it happened.
and not been a conversationalist at all.
Yeah.
And she was able to have that in this case because she didn't start with the conversation side. If she had started with something that he was bad at, he never would have made it through.
Mm-hmm.
So I think not knowing and just allowing yourself to be a little more carnal and be like, I'm just going to be a physical creature. I'm horny and I want to get laid and I'm in Cancun and my husband is 2,000 miles away. But he says I can do what I want. I'm going to.
Yeah.
And so she did.
Did he have any questions for you when you were explaining, hey, I'm here on a golf trip, I have a partner, I'm in this lifestyle, I'm a hot wife?
So it was kind of like a bowling ball, like doing a cannonball until the bachelor party thing's going on, and there's one girl, and I bet both of you will know exactly who it is. Just comes right out with it with exactly who we are. We're all in open relationships, and we're in
The secret goblin.
But no, and she did it in such a good way, and it kind of like ended up being the perfect icebreaker because like this is who we are. We don't give a fuck. We're here for our first good girls' weekend ever.
Yeah.
And what they didn't know is like all of us are grandmas. They think they're just some hot milfs that we're actually gilfs. And I love that. Like it was.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah,
all
no, I guess
that's crazy.
We're not calling her out by name, but
Yeah.
we do want to say that she was the best wing woman ever. Right?
Ever. Like, oh my God, I can't even. The amount of support, I've never felt so celebrated for being so slutty in my life. Ever.
So,
It's amazing.
I would argue that a good wing woman or good wing man, wing woman does matter if you're hunting in the wild.
Yeah. So that icebreaker happened. So it kind of diffused like any of the situation. And there were like little, very like top of the funnel questions, what we would call them. Not offensive, just maybe a little curious. But I don't think it negatively impacted how any of those people interfaced with us. They were, again, very kind, very respectful. They offered to for us to join their card game stuff. And we're just being genuinely friendly. I think the flirting escalated almost subconsciously.
It was your bikini.
Whatever, it worked. It worked, and I had no idea what it was happening until it was happening. So
I wonder whether for them as well that they're on the bachelor weekend. There's going to be a subset of men on there who are in monogamous, married, or long-term relationships.
Most of them, again, contextually married, kids, or in serious relationships.
And then there would have been people who were perhaps dating. And I think for that person, I think also knowing that you're not there looking for a partner, because again, when you're vetting, there's probably a subset of people on there that are legitimately looking for a very long-term monogamous partner.
Especially in like Field.
Exactly.
Field, there's a ton of them.
I went out with 2 guys.
Yeah.
And they're like, if I can't have all of you, I want none of you. I was like, okay, well, why?
Yeah. There's nothing we
That's
can
not
do.
how this works.
So I guess from their perspective, like that would have really created a safe space for them as well, because they know it's a holiday fling, it's a bit of fun, it's nothing, we don't need to talk about what your future is going to look like or whatever. You can just have that spontaneous connection.
Yeah, I think it was disarming for them a little bit. Yeah, I think it would be the word I used to describe it. And the other factor was there was some people get to Cancun and go on vacation, and it's just like, woo, spring break.
Yeah.
And there was a smaller group of women, and they were a little aggressive. And these boys, bless their hearts, are in these teeny little bikinis and adorable little hats because they're doing like the bachelor thing all week long.
Yeah.
So you can identify them a mile away. And I guess they were getting grabbed. So it kind of insulated them a little bit. The little, because they look like sharks in the water going after these guys. You know what I mean? And they were just like, I'm just going to go grab your package. Like, So
how rude.
We got to help. Yeah, a little bit. I think they were only there a day and a half, but we protected them a little bit. Apparently, they had been harassing.
Right. So we're prejudging. Anyway. We're prejudging. We've agreed that we're doing that. I want to change this and flip the script a little bit here. I want to talk about ED. Right. In Hotwife and Lifestyle, there is a high percentage of people that I've been with, and I would say almost half, if not even more than half, that have had some sort of performance-based anxiety.
Sure.
So my question now is, we've had the spontaneous side, we've had the judging side, we've had the pressure conversation. Do you think that this spontaneous interaction would help this guy potentially not have these stressful, pressure-filled thoughts on the husband's at home, performance this, performance that, and then be able to just be more in present and in the moment and
Yeah,
potentially perform.
yes. I think the element of spontaneity, just physically, chemically, biologically, works much better that way because you're following the chemicals, you're following your gut, like you're that's the
Biology.
whole reason you're taking these steps forward is
Mhm.
because your dick's hard, you're getting wet, you're being turned on, and that notion, that feeling, those chemicals are driving you to that objective. So yeah, I think it would be way easier to kind of get out of your head.
How many men do you think we've had, Mickey, to you, how many men do you think have perhaps had issues when either you've been in the room or not, like, and it could be swapping, orgy, or just even a whole wife dynamic where you've been in the room and they've had performance issues, or even the thought of you meeting you, knowing about your existence has caused them to have performance issues? What do you think that looks
Oh
like?
yeah.
It's 100%. It's if you are a guy in the E&M lifestyle, you will eventually have some sort of an erectile challenge. It's inevitable because it's directly attached to your brain, and your brain you don't control it, right? And so any anxieties or anything that either you develop for any reason, whether it's the other guy or it's the performance of the girl. We've actually had people that were gung ho and all in until they realize who she is.
Mhm.
And they realize either her social following or that she's well known. It's insane. They literally, their heart on goes away and they run away screaming.
Yeah.
We've actually had people who didn't know who she was cancel dates with her when they realized who she was.
Mhm.
And that's crazy. So I think the anxieties in guys' brains will always be an issue. And then when you add the extra part, which is there's a husband. Now, I will never be the sit in the corner in the cuck chair guy. That's not me.
Yeah.
This is not how I'm architected. If she's going to have fun,
That's
I
not,
want her to have fun.
yeah, that's not really something I'd be into.
Yeah, it's just not, I mean, it's if you want to go have fun, go have fun. Like, go ahead. I mean,
Yeah.
and if I'm going to hold the camera, I'm in the room, right?
It's
But
it's such I've always had that. I can't remember a time in our lives in this journey, maybe early on, where I didn't really feel like I could do just about anything. I think I've always historically checked in with you, but I knew in the back of my mind I could. And leveraging that and knowing that that's a real thing
Yeah.
is amazing.
and
That
I
was
mean,
so
he knew you
cool.
were married,
Yeah.
but you told him your husband
Yep.
was fine with it,
Yep.
and it
And
was
we
cool.
talked about it. Yeah. And he didn't do any of the the can stuff. So you just out here for trolling for dick or anything. He didn't really ask any of those questions, but yes,
Smart.
he knew all of us were in E&M, explained what E&M was, how my relationship's different from their relationships, and there's different levels to this. Yeah.
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 And I suppose that even though he didn't know of your presence, you're back in Florida, you're in
Yeah.
Cancun, so I think,
That made it easier for him.
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
You're not going to show up in Sasha's tire.
I'm
Well,
curious
actually,
if there is a
I can tell you,
correlation between
unquestionably.
in the wild
Yeah.
performance and in the Hotwife potentially vetted pressure, whatever. I'm
Yeah.
curious if there is correlation between those two things, and I honestly think there.
I think there is.
Yeah.
And so I can tell you 100% efficacy. If I were there, that never would have happened because he wouldn't have talked to her in the first place. If I was standing next to her at the bar, and it happens to us all the time when we're out together in any environment, we're always together, always standing next to her. So they take one look at me and look, I'm not like this gigantic physically imposing human being. I'm not out there scaring the shit out of people. That's not what I'm saying. It's a respect thing. Most guys that are worth the shit are going to see that she's with the guy. They're not going to walk up and be,
They're not going to introduce themselves.
douche
They're gonna
bro.
bother.
And be like, hey, I'm bigger than him. You should come with me. No, that doesn't happen.
No.
Yeah.
So if I'm with her, they just respectfully move on.
Yeah.
And that reduces her
Yeah, they
chances. So
just-
when she was there alone, of course if I walk away from her at a swinger club, she's got 4 people talking to her. If I walk away from her at a regular bar, she's got 4 people talking to her. She's a beautiful woman. It happens. But me not being there definitely made a difference. 100%.
Okay. Let's then talk about this concept of dating in the wild and vanilla. Do you think this is something that you're going to try and actively seek out again?
I think I'm going to. I came back from this trip with a few realizations, and one of them is that I don't want to dismiss an opportunity because I'm uncomfortable or because it's new. 5 years ago, I would have never done this. Like, I wouldn't have had the confidence or the security. And that's a me thing. I would like to incorporate it more often, but this situation specifically, because I had a day or two, not an hour or two,
Yeah.
I don't know. But I might want to try. I mean, what would it be like to go to a bar, post up, introduce myself to a few people, and see what happens?
What
I
would
mean,
be
I
some of the
honestly don't know until I
parameters?
try it.
Well, so we just talked about like the vetting, sometimes for the
Yeah.
safety, for all these other things. So I guess if we were to talk to people about how this could work and still be creating a safe space, creating these moments,
hmm
and what would you tell people? How could we make this happen where we are creating a safer space for you to go and do this in the wild? Do you think?
Oh, I don't know that I'm going to be the authority on that because, for all intents and purposes, I don't know that safety was on top of mind for me. It was for my team, though. I did get checked on.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think a good place to start would be a good wing woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going
Having a
alone.
partner, I will say, having that group of women did up the ante for me, too, because my confidence level had doubled because I had my squad, right?
Yeah.
And those are my cheerleaders. And they're going to fuck somebody up if they fuck with me. And they're going to fucking give me a round of applause when I get to fuck someone. And that's exactly what happened.
So, Mickey, would that be one of the things that you would like to see, is having Mallory have a level of support when she's out in the wild trying to find people?
I think I just
for-
think it's easier for her. I don't think she necessarily requires it. But I think what would end up happening, and the other thing, that it's a social boost as well, because if you are sitting at the bar by
Yeah.
yourself, you're not going to do it for very long. If somebody doesn't immediately pretty much walk up and start talking, you're not going to spend 4 hours sitting at that bar,
Yeah.
right? But if you have your friends with you, you very well might.
That's just it. There was a quote by someone, and oh man, I won't be able to say it right or give them the credit, but it's in the area of when you have one beautiful woman equals something. And then when you have two or more beautiful women, it's exponential. It's not just an additive, like it's an exponent. Like
It's
that
a murder of
energy.
hoes.
Yeah, it's a murder of hoes. There you go. But you're more likely to get noticed. The energies changes. You know what I mean? And I get hit on more when I'm with a girl or girls than I do by myself or with you by a long shot. I want to say double.
Yeah. I don't get hit on when I'm with you.
Yeah.
It always happens when you're not with me.
Well, because I have active bitch face. It's resting bitch face. I just look like I always smell fart.
I think
just
it's
kidding.
just the same thing. I think it's respect. They're like, oh,
that's fair.
That's his person.
Yeah,
So,
even in this space, like you have to consciously battle that social norm. You see a couple together, that's a bubble.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think two people are probably looking across and seeing, to what Mickey just said, if you're sitting there on your own, you're probably not going to be doing it for very long. You're probably going to start to be like, this is wasting my time and I have to get time. But if you're
Bored.
there with other people, you're also engaging with them, talking to them.
Mhm.
So people across the room can see that charismatic behavior and would be more prone or inclined to come over and think, oh, that's quite magnetic. I'm going to go over and talk
Yeah.
to that person because
Yeah.
they're animated
This
and
is
they're having a
why-
great
yeah,
time. And
This is why we did it so much in our 20s.
yeah.
'cause
Whereas if
we-
you're sitting at a bar on
yeah.
your own, like smiling and laughing wildly, like I'm pretty sure people aren't going to come over to you.
I don't know that I would want to engage with somebody who would have that kind of.
No, that bitch is
gusto.
crazy.
Yeah.
But
I bet she could fuck.
bitch be great.
Though, I think that if you go to a bar alone, you might as well just go there and look at the bartenders. And if you don't think any of them are fuckable,
That's
leave.
exactly, you read my mind. The only
You're
reason I
gonna
go to
fuck a
bar alone
bartender.
is to see if I can score a bartender, because
Yeah.
that's who I'd be engaging with mostly
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah.
Do
Which
you want to fuck
is
the bartender?
Honestly, would be right up my alley.
Yeah.
I think that'd be in my wheelhouse.
Would you have any requirements or safety parameters for Mallory? Things as her partner who cares about her, who wants to make sure that she's healthy, safe.
Obviously,
like-
the standards are there. Safe play, right? So obviously, condom use and visual inspection, which is critical to anybody, whether you're ENM or not.
What about like physical?
yeah.
Well, I think for physical safety, I think knowing where you are, if something does go well for you, someone knows where you're going to be, even if it's not me, right? So, for example, I didn't know you were playing until after you were
I
done.
know, wild, right?
Yeah, like I had a
Yeah.
feeling because you said that that boy was talking to you, and then you went dark, and I was like, and then I woke up. It was like, I don't know, it was like midnight or something, and I'm like, I think my wife is playing right now, and I don't know why I thought that, but I did. And I was right. She sent me a text message like 45 minutes later and was like, I got lucky. And So that's the only way I knew. So for me to say that I need to know before it happens, not accurate.
Mhm.
But I'm glad someone knew where she was.
Right,
So
yeah.
so
Yeah.
for me,
That's fair.
a lot of couples say that our rules and our safety parameters are this, and I have to be in control. I have to be the one that protects her at all times. Well, I'm not there. I was 2,000 miles away. So
Yeah.
let's use a little more common sense.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that you feel comfortable with that person. That person's communicating with you. They're listening to your boundaries. They're okay with protection.
Yeah.
And so she's very good about paying attention to things like guys trying to slip the condom off and stuff like that, which is a common fear
Yeah.
in hotwifing, is that the guy's going to try, because we've had lots of guys try to weasel their way out of condoms. It's okay. I just got tested 2 years ago and it's fine. And, it's like, come on. But for other safety parameters, drop a pin, right? Just let me know
There you
where you
go.
are. Like if
Yeah.
you're going to
Okay.
back to a guy's house with him, drop a pin. Let me know where you are.
Yeah.
So that'd be a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Sharing location.
Take a picture of his license plate.
Yep.
Right? Because if you disappear, I want to know who I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah. And usually
Liam
I
Neeson
would,
their ass.
That's
I
right.
think it'd be very rare for me to go back to somebody's house. I probably like offer to rent a hotel with my own name, drop a pin, share location. Never leave my drink unattended. Never
Mhm.
let it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had
Because
test
I-
kits, right? You had test
I had
kits.
test kits. I actually brought roofie kits,
Oh,
like
yeah?
the little not
Yeah.
roofie kits. It
Roofie
sounds like I'm
sticks.
roofing people.
Roofie sticks.
But,
You
like,
really
since-
let loose in
I
Mexico.
did, dude.
Okay, so there's the secret, folks. How Mallory actually had a
Yeah.
home run was she
So-
drugged the
Yeah.
motherfucker and took him back to his
Hey,
room.
I needed a win. A win's a win.
Good segue. I want to talk about your confidence now. So striking
Yeah.
out, we've taken a hit. Striking out
Yeah.
episode, we've taken a hit. You're now coming off the back of having this 12 out of 10 experience with this guy
Yeah.
in Mexico in the wild. Let's talk about your confidence. Let's talk about your confidence going into it, during, now after. What do you think you experienced? And then Mickey, what are you seeing in Mallory post that experience?
I think the confidence has definitely been bolstered. Like I feel whole again. It's stupid. You shouldn't let stuff like that get to your ego and take it personally, but you do.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to Mexico, I had no expectation. I knew, as always, the door's open if the opportunity arises, but it was never on the docket as an objective. It wasn't on the agenda. And I love that it just happened organically and kind of worked out. All the puzzle pieces, the stars aligned, however you want to give it a metaphor for. It was
You literally got lucky.
literally got lucky. hmm And I didn't know this flirty, kind conversation, funny. Like, I found him very funny, which is obviously an attractive quality.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to turn into this. Like, I was fine just having that interaction. That felt good. I was there to shed my day-to-day life, let go. I wasn't mom. I wasn't sis. I wasn't wife. I was just there with my girls. And that's the only thing I needed to be in that moment.
You weren't even Mallory.
I wasn't even Mallory. I was just me. And I think that really opened myself up because I had no objective. I was just there and so unbelievably present. The most present I felt in a long time because we're always going from one thing to another.
Yeah.
So my brain's always on fire. I always have something to do to check off the list. And there was no list. It was just existence. And it's such a beautiful thing. I highly recommend that part.
How are you now post then?
I don't know. Am I still floating? Like, I feel like a new person. Like I feel reinvigorated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like,
Has it made you want to go out there and like try to find more connections with people?
yeah, because I'm pretty sure I have an addictive personality. So you get a good dick down, and you're like, yeah. Where's the next one?
Well, we had a conversation prior to you meeting him where I expressed something that kind of, I think you rocked you back a little bit, but you were like, actually, that's true. I can't argue with that, which was we are ethically non-monogamous by our nature.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a hobby for us.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually something that bothers me when people talk about it. Like, oh, it's just what we do for fun.
Yeah, we don't have to try to be this way. We just
We are this way.
Yeah.
And her confidence, the dings to her confidence were really starting to affect her because, and this is what I said to her. I was getting to my point, I promise. Which is, I said, you actually get a little itchy when you haven't had any for a while, when you haven't had any strange for a while. I can actually see it in her personality.
Yeah.
That if she hasn't, because she is non-monogamous and she was horny and wanted some strange and it just wasn't working out and it was starting to become very frustrating and damaging to her confidence.
Yeah, I do. That serotonin dopamine rush that you get from an engagement like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously for the reasons we talked about, but also that feels good.
Yeah.
Feeling desired makes people feel good. You
Yeah.
know, like it's, I think
Yeah.
that's why new relationship energy when you first join the lifestyle is so addictive for so many people, because that concept of feeling desired,
I love
feeling
it.
interested, new, refreshed.
Yeah, I could eat NRE for breakfast every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can
it's such
understand
a
why
good
people get
feeling.
into it and they're like, more.
Yeah.
Because all
Well,
of a sudden
that's
you
how
start.
NRE destroys relationships too, though,
Yeah.
because people turn into drug-addled dumbasses. Because
Yeah,
NRE is a drug.
So there's boundaries. I think there is a way to absorb
Of course there
that
is.
and
We
live in
figured
it,
that
and
out.
you can keep. Oh yeah.
We figured that out,
Well,
but it
not
does take
really,
time.
but like.
Well, I mean, no, it's we just have to talk about it. One of us
yeah.
has to raise our hand, because when
Yeah.
one of us is in a new relationship with somebody,
Right.
it does become a little consuming,
Mhm.
right? And so in this case, it was a flash in the pan, but that's not always going to be. The next time they could live right down the street.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So have
Right.
you found that Mallory's come back and like is now all of a sudden seeming a little bit more interested in finding connections
Oh,
versus
100%.
maybe pre?
She's also been horny as hell since she got back too. Like, she's absolutely unstoppable since she got back. It's
Yeah.
just so it definitely reignited her personal flame, but it also created a situation where she's definitely like I've noticed in our chat app that's just she's hi, hey, how you doing, what's up, hello.
Yeah, actually,
She's talking more.
yeah, just a side note there. I think what I'm going to start doing is shortening the delta of the opportunity from when we're in chat to when we meet, because I realized I am not good at gauging people over text message, and they're more likely to say something and then I take it out of context and I kick them out of bed for eating crackers,
Mhm.
and then they don't get another chance. So as long as like there's a decent flow there, I don't know that I need to wait 2 or 3 weeks unless it's our travel to fucking meet these guys anymore. What's the harm in taking that half hour and going to meet for a drink or a coffee and just seeing if there's a vibe there?
100%.
And I can take my time once I know foundationally I think I am attracted to this person,
Mhm.
instead of like me taking a longer time to vet them. I think there's some compromise there that I can work on.
Well,
It's going to be some pass and fail stuff.
I think your success rate's going to go way up if you meet more people.
Yeah.
Because
Well, obviously, it's a
you do
numbers
Queen of
game.
Hearts people
I
quick.
know. I'm just a scared little girl sometimes.
My ass, you're
Yeah.
a honey badger. And just boom, off with their head. Fuck you.
Well, Loki, I
Fuck you,
did. I
Tony.
did decide not to meet someone because they didn't know the difference between there, and there.
That happened.
And it was so, like in hindsight, I was like, that was dumb. Who are you?
Yeah, because with this guy, for example, you
Yeah.
had no idea.
No.
So, okay, to round this out then, should Hotwives stop playing by this guidebook that we
Yeah.
believe is the perfect and stop chasing the perfect and start chasing the fun? Should hotwife couples be doing that? Have we been doing things wrong by over-vetting, over-complicating, over-judging?
I'm sure there's a subset of us that have, 100%.
Yeah, perfect is the enemy of
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and also like, who the fuck are you? Like, get off your high horse and get down here with
What
us.
are you, the grammar police?
Yeah, right.
I
That's
think
that.
I think we definitely made it hard on ourselves, but you make it hard on yourself to protect yourself, right? Fear is a powerful motivator.
Yeah.
It can paralyze you into doing absolutely nothing, which is what's happening,
Yeah.
right? Because you're afraid it's not going to work out. You're afraid the person's not going to meet your ethics. You're afraid that the person's, still Duggar's piece of
Also, you
shit.
just
Or,
can't be bothered sometimes because we've got to shave your big toe, go out, the person's an idiot. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of effort involved in
Yeah,
can we
it.
talk
and
about your hair
I
and big
hate-
toe for a minute?
Yeah.
Mine,
Apparently,
yes.
you have to shave just that one.
Okay.
Which one is it?
No, I shave both of my big toes, and if I'm
And
doing that, that's
Most women
effort.
do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So shaving your big toe is a thing?
It's a
Oh
thing.
my God.
And
I protect him from a lot of this stuff because he can't. I don't think he knows girls. So,
Girls don't poop.
yeah.
I saw you make that face. I know what that face is. Girls don't poop. It doesn't matter.
See what I mean? See what I mean? So sheltered.
Yeah, there's effort involved.
Yeah.
And so I don't necessarily always think it's fear. I
Well-
think there's a lot of like, especially
Well,
again, when you talk about a strike rate, when you talk about the performance rates, when I say to you 60%, 70%, there's a moment in time where I'm like, fuck this. I could be on the couch playing my new PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like, why?
I especially at this point in the game where we have much better things to do with our time. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you. I don't find being a girl is fun. I have lots of makeup and stuff to put in my hair, but I don't find joy in that process. I don't find joy in making sure I look my best.
Yeah.
And it can be really taxing when you get there and either you're not into them or what I do to self-sabotage. I'm like, I'm not going to be good enough somehow. I'm predetermined. I'm afraid of it when I'm in that engagement. and then you have all that other anxiety. Like,
Well,
you're
and
really
you-
not setting yourself up for success.
You actually
in that
had it
moment.
happen where the guy showed up
Yeah.
in sweatpants and
Oh, the
sweatshirt.
Unabomber? Yeah, that
Yeah, he
was
looked up.
weird.
We called him the Unibonger because
Yeah.
he smelled like weed,
Yeah.
and he was in sweatpants and a sweatshirt, and she looked dressed to the
So
nines.
that's the other thing. Early on in this adventure, bottom of the barrel stuff. So I think we hyped up that vetting process to
Right.
avoid some of that, because that guy actually, I'm not sure he wasn't a serial killer.
I think he
But
wasn't
again,
good.
if
He
you were
was
out
not
at a
okay.
bar, say we were at a bar
Yeah.
together and surviving and having a good time, and that dude walked through the door, and
No
we'd be
chance.
non-consequence because we
Yeah.
wouldn't even,
No
we'd glance
chance.
sideways and go, well, he looks ridiculous in a bar, and then we'd go back to having our conversation.
That'd be
Yeah.
it.
So we wouldn't have wasted any time. We're having a
Yeah,
good time,
that's
and
true.
regardless. Whereas
That's
like
true.
those, you know.
Yeah. So
So what are we saying? What's the roundup here?
I think the roundup is we're our own worst enemy, whether we in our head or whether we're in our processes. When you put everything down, success rates go way up. We did an episode a long time ago about separate play and being more realistic, and I caught some shit because I told guys two things. If you want to be more successful as a guy playing separately, there's two things you can do to help you. One of which is lower your standards, which women didn't like that I said that.
Yeah.
But when every guy is aiming for a 10 and you're a 2, it's not going to work out really
I
well.
remember
And
that
that
episode, yeah.
brings me to the second one, which is know your league and play in it.
Yeah.
And if you do, you're going to be more successful. And now, don't get me wrong. I shot for the stars when I met Mallory. I am not in her league, but I got told no a lot. So, that's going to happen until you find somebody that vibes with your personality or these other things that make you special or attractive. But when you're out in the wild trying to play, physical attraction is a huge part of it. And so if you do know your league and stay in it, and if you do, obviously lower your standards a little bit, you're going to have more success. What she did in this case, she didn't lower her standards. She just dropped a few of those gates.
yeah.
And when she dropped the gates, bam, success was right in her face. So yeah, I do think it matters. There's a long way of saying yes.
I forgot the question. I was so enthralled in his answer.
I was saying let's round out the episode. Like, what are
Yeah.
we saying about the guidebook? What do we think about this spontaneous 12 out of 10? Are we fearful that now that we've had this great experience that we're not going to be able to get this again?
I
There's
am
so
not
many-
ready to even consider the downfalls or the potential negative. Like, I'm not mentally there.
Okay.
I am still in that positive sector.
Yeah.
I'm in the future. I personally will look for more opportunity to have an experience like that. I don't think I'm going to take my hands off the wheel and not have any structure around vetting people. Like, I think we'll work both sides.
Yeah.
But
If it's obvious, if it's glaring, right? It's
Yeah.
like, okay, that's the thing. But I will say that you're probably more in the mode. So this is how funny life is. Yesterday, I got a message from a new client that happens to be in the same city this guy lives in. So of course, Mallory
Oh
looks at
my
me and goes,
God.
I'm fucking going with you.
Well, and there's no saying like he's going to want to, because like I'm not sure what the rules are. I've never really had a one night stand before.
Yeah.
So the fact that we communicated a little afterwards, and I got busted on his Instagram by his administrator because it was his business account, and I'm an idiot. Oh yeah, I know.
Well played, honey. Good job.
So embarrassed,
Oh my
so
God.
unglued. But he was super cool about it. I was like, sorry for stalking you, and this is the wrong account to stalk you on.
So funny.
But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if I think I want to reach out to him and see if he'd want to meet again, or do I just let it be what it was? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Well,
also, if I go see him in vacation version versus hometown version, like I don't know that I want to. If
Ruin
there's
that
an
memory.
illusion there, I just want to keep it. I'm so
Yeah.
fucking happy with what happened.
Yeah.
It might
Ignorance
be
is
fine
bliss,
just where it's-
right?
Yeah.
That's-
I don't know.
Okay.
But like it was 12, so like how could I not ask
Yeah.
either?
right. I
Stay
can
tuned.
I can tell you by the look on her face and by how she's acted since she got back here. If she gets a chance to fuck him again, she's
Yeah.
doing it.
Also, I guess what we're saying is the rule book, the guidebook, isn't always correct.
No, it's a living, breathing thing,
Yeah.
right? I don't think it's hard set, and it has to stay that way. And we've tried to approach most of the stuff in the lifestyle like that. Like, there's going to be nuances and exceptions and whatnot, but I do think the vetting process, like the check boxes, have gotten a little too long. I think it needs to shorten it. The only thing I'm going to stand by big bushy beards, I think.
No beards. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Beards are a real problem.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, beards are everywhere.
That's been my biggest challenge, honestly.
Yeah.
Everyone's like ZZ Top, and I'm just not one of the. It's not my thing.
I don't like pussy hair. So I get it. I don't want to put my face in it. Why do you want to put your face in a beard?
I thought about it that way because I don't mind pubes if you're well grown.
Well, because I think if they had bugs
Ironic.
down there, you'd know it. Yeah, in the end, I think her confidence is going to be the thing that makes her more successful and more moving forward. The confidence of this experience, necessarily abandoning guidelines or rules, and not. Frankly, I don't like the word rules because rules mean they're hard and fast and never change. Life doesn't work that way.
Some guidelines, maybe.
Yeah, some guidelines, right? Some guiding principles. Maybe we have some less of those. And maybe you get out a little earlier because the endless chat, eventually people just lose interest or think you're not real.
Yeah.
And that's actually the number one thing we get is, you can't be real. You're not real.
Yeah.
Because those girls don't look like her on those apps. They don't. So your pictures are really
They
good.
could see what I look like right now, though.
You do look like you
Yeah,
crawled.
bitches. Not everyone's privy to the Mallory that we get.
Yeah, you look like you fought a raccoon for your place in the
I
dumpster
did. I
last night.
crawled, not just like out of the dumpster. I was under the dumpster.
You were the binge. It was like dripping.
So we hosted at X Club last night, and it was great. DJ Joe Cheetah and Angel played, and we had a really good time hanging out with the management team and all the people at X Club. We came back here, and the owner of X Club presented me with a gift, which was a wonderful joint. I smoked a lot of it. I shared some of it with Mallory. I had a 30-minute conversation with a light socket because it was really good weed.
I did the Pledge of Allegiance.
She did the Pledge of Allegiance, and then she turned into this horny monster and made me screw her for like 3 hours. And
It was a long time.
we're gonna start a GoFundMe. Like, pray for me.
You poor thing.
Fuck.
You loved it. And
She is a machine.
I even slept in the wet spot. So
Yeah, it was a
I'm so
lot.
nice.
So, and I will tell you, this is something. But guys, so I'm gonna call Mallory on this one. She's gonna hate me for it.
Oh man.
Before we go, I can tell when she's reminiscing about her experience with this guy. So the first night that it happened, the first night after she gets home after it happened,
Oh no.
I hear her masturbating in bed. And we're asleep. And I'm like, oh, she woke up and needed to knock one off. And then I hear her alternate between snoring and masturbating. And I roll her, she's having a dream about fucking the guy and playing with herself. And she has an orgasm in her sleep while she's masturbating.
Legit happened.
Nice.
Legit
This
happened.
was last night as well.
Well,
No, this is the first night after I got
Okay.
home from Mexico.
But then the
Granted,
next-
I was rolling in like 38 hours of no sleep as
Yeah.
well.
So you were tired.
And so when you told me in the morning, I was like, oh, I thought that was I was definitely dreaming, and
Yeah.
I definitely had a sex dream,
That's so funny.
but I had no idea that I got myself off.
Oh, you did. And it was
You're
unquestionable.
like, it's the cutest thing I've ever seen.
It was really cute. But-
That's a diddle diddle diddle.
Well, so then the next day though, she throws me down and climbs on top of me.
Yeah.
And she does like to ride. That's definitely one of her favorite things to do. But that's exclusively, and we're not going to tell the story because that's you guys'
Yes, please
podcast.
don't.
But that's kind of your thing, and that's what you did, and then that's what you were doing it to me, and you closed your eyes, and you actually said something that you never say in bed with me, and I'm like, she's thinking about having sex with him while she's riding my dick right now. That's exactly
You're
what she was
just a
doing.
prop, my
I
friend.
was literally the stunt dick for her memory lane walk.
Well, there we go. So that has been the Hotwife Homerun, casual, not curated.
Yeah, it was casual as fuck.
Yeah.
And that
Keep
was,
it casual.
Yeah.
I was a casual slut.
yeah, casual hoe bag. Yeah,
I
that
love
was awesome. Well, Kate, why in the fuck? I
I
don't know
love
how we
you.
earned you.
So excited.
I don't know how
This
we
is
earned you,
great.
honey. We really don't, but we love you to pieces. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining us for Casual Swinger 2.0.
Love it.
It's different than
Yay.
how we've done things before. And I promised you guys a whiskey of the month this episode. It's going to have to wait because we're in Toronto and they don't have any American whiskey up here, guys.
Yeah.
The tariffs caused them to kick out all the American whiskey. So we're drinking Canadian whiskey and Jameson this week. And Nina, none of those are going to be your whiskey of the month. So
Okay.
we're going to do that. But this has been a blast. Thanks for joining us. Mallory, you want to tell everybody where to find us? We'll get the hell out of here.
Yeah, we're Casual Swinger everywhere. You can find us at casualswinger.com. Podcast at casualswinger.com if you want to shoot us an email. Don't forget, we're doing Casual Swinger Week, March 14th to the 21st. You can email reservations at Hedonism Resorts
Or call them.
or give them a call. That's hedonism.com. You can find us on Twitter, X. Sorry, I'm never going to get used
It's
to
still
that.
going to be Twitter forever.
Instagram, YouTube, And also the dating sites, SLS, SDC, Cassidy, you name it.
Yeah, we're kind of all over the place. We're casual
Field,
swinger everywhere.
Field.
Yeah, we're on Field too. We're Mickey Mallory on Field.
There you go.
Because he wouldn't let me put casual swinger in there.
Yeah,
It's not.
yeah, shameless plug.
Yeah, very shameless.
For my
All the
segue.
shameless. Well, hey, this has been a blast, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back in another couple of weeks with another episode of Casual Swinger coming your way. Take care.